Hey, it's Dr. Day here. We're going to go over an easy stretching routine for you today. 10 minutes tops, kind of a full body. I have a couple different versions of it, but this is one of the versions. Now the things to remember, stretching is a mind-body activity because your nerves send out messages. Your brain perceives what your body is feeling. So I can actually feel what my finger's doing right now. So you have body perception. You got to tune into it while you're stretching. Is one side tighter than the other? Does this muscle need to be focused in on? Because you actually have some physical control over your muscles. And you have two sides to your nervous system, two branches. The sympathetic, which is run from the tiger, deal with danger, rise to an occasion, and parasympathetic, rest, relax, restore. The 3 R's. So you want to turn on the parasympathetics. You want to focus. I call it the pre-foul shot focus period, where you're going to zone in your mind right before the big shot. You're going to do that while you're stretching, and you're going to do that by breathing through your diaphragm. So your ribs are going to expand, the belly's going to come out. So that's stretch number one. You're going to slightly bend your knees, put your hands just over your lower ribs. Inhale 4 seconds, exhale 6 seconds. Now for those of you having trouble breathing out for 6 seconds, you're going to purse your lips and your belly and ribs are going to come back in. So the basin is filling up and then going back in. 4, 6. Then we get into our stretches. So stretch one, we're slouched like this over the computer all day. So we're going to reach up like so. We're going to relax our neck by going side to side. We're going to lift up out of our rib cage from here. Now we're going to bring our hands back. Now most of our life is texting, typing, driving. Those are all flexion of our body and internal rotation of our shoulders. So we're going to do the opposite. Reach your hands out, spread them out. You can do it directly overhead, off to the side, and I even come straight out and back. And I'll do mobilizations where I'll bend and release. You gotta make sure not to overarch your back here. Bend and release. So big stretch. And I'll spend about 60 seconds here and here. And then I'll bring in the yoga base of the same stretch, which is overhead, fingers together. This time I'm tucking my pelvis under, reaching. And with this one, it's a great breathing exercise because I can't use my upper neck to breathe. Watch my lower ribs through my shirt. Kind of tough to see, but my ribs are expanding out and coming back together. So you're reaching up, tucking. That's a great stretch for the lat. That's why I have my surfboard here. This is my motivation every day to do my stretching. That's my muse. I want to be able to be a good surfer, have mobile arms, be able to reach and paddle through. If I get stiff, tight, I'm going to get injuries. Okay, stretch 2 or 3. We're going to get in a split lunge position. We're going to tuck our pelvis under. The pelvis is like a bowl, and your whole pelvic bones and joints make up a structure that kind of supports you in a 3D angle like this. Your ilium, ischium, and pubis form together, and you want to bring them underneath to get this stretch. You want to lengthen this piece out right here. We sit all day, hunch down, so we want to bring extension into that joint. You're going to tuck under. My knee is behind my toes, not shearing over. You can be farther apart or closer together, whatever's comfortable for you. Tuck under. Now to get an extra stretch, I can apply pressure right here into the butt or engage the glutes, squeeze the butt. I can get a better stretch. And then lastly, I can reach up and slightly over. You can also do this one by taking a knee, tucking and reaching. This one's more dynamic and you're going to get more of the whole anterior chain, the quad. This one's really important because the iliacus and psoas major can really cause havoc if they're shortened, because they're going to bring the spine forward and you're going to end up hyperextending from your low back to be tall. The tight hip flexors can also inhibit the glutes to engage. So a huge part of back pain is from us sitting all day. Our nerves, remember we're having a nerve to muscle experience, are getting shortened, and then it's turning off the glutes. We're creating compression on the disc because the hip flexor attaches up into the anterior part of your spine, the transverse process. So that's another great one, hip flexor stretch. Next, the plank is a great stretch slash core exercise. Again, you want to really consider where your pelvic bowl is in space. Too many people pitch their pelvic bowl back and their butt ends up in the air. You want to bring it under and align. You'll know it's in the right place if you feel a little shake. You're going to bring it under, bring those ribs down a bit. Head is long, out of the body. None of this, crunching the shoulders up. And I like it on the elbows. And I'll move around, and as I bring that pelvis into the right place, I feel an engagement, a shaking of the muscles down here. That's when you know you're getting it good. So again, I'll hold this for 60 seconds or a couple sets of 30 seconds, whatever you can do while keeping good, rigid form, okay? That's an advanced one for you beginners. You can take a knee and get the pelvis in the right place, and you're still gonna get a great activation of the core. And what we mean by core are these three sheaths of muscle that wrap this whole area and attach into your back. And we need them to be very responsive and awake so you don't pull your back out of alignment. And they're gonna help cross-contract with your hips, so when you run, the leg muscle, core, and glutes are all gonna engage together and hold it in the right place. Keep it from turning in too far. Okay, next, I really like downward dog as a complete stretch because it gets what we want downward dog to end up looking like is a upside down V. This is my front of my upper body, bending at my femoral head, so the femur joint here, bending and straight back down to the feet. Now if you can't achieve that at first, you're gonna bend your knees, drop into the stretch like so. See how my body's straight, my head is falling down between my arms, and then I can lengthen out my legs to get that deep stretch. But here I feel a nice hip stretch, and it's the same mechanism of doing this, but with a little more weight. I'm putting my weight in the L, index to thumb, keep from stressing out my wrists, and then I'm letting my head fall and elongate instead of keeping it hiked up as a turtle shell. All these stretches, 60 seconds, couple rounds if you want to, if you're really motivated. Then I'll bring my heels up slowly, my calves get tight with work, drop them back down. This is a great one for my runners. They can take the time to do it. Slow, controlled mechanism. Your muscles, what people don't know about stretching are your muscles are made of fibers that slide. And in the muscles and in the tendons, there are nerve receptors. They're kind of like computer chips that are saying, this is the length of this muscle. So when we stretch it, we stretch too hard, the spindles or the Golgi tendon organs will freeze the muscle and cause it to not lengthen all the way. But if you ease your way in, or some research says if you contract the muscle for a little bit, there's a refractory period where you can lengthen it. So that's why coming up on the toes and back down in, some contracting, relaxing in a movement can really help. Same here, you can press your foot down, kind of engage the hip flexor very gently. Big breath, relax, and then squeeze the glute. So first I contracted like I was trying to kick down into the floor. Relax, then engage the glute, and it can give me some length. My next favorite is a deep squat. And you can use this as a bolster, the back of a chair, or the frame of a door. Hold on one second. Good. Still working out camera stuff. I'm new to this. So this one, I'm from West Virginia originally. I tell my patients that you wanna, when you're out in the woods doing outdoorsman stuff, you wanna get those, and you have to use the bathroom, you wanna get those heels back because you don't want anything to fall on your feet. So the deep squat, can't get down into this with a tall, elongated spine, sitting back with a tall spine and a tall neck, and you're doing any of this where your feet are turning out or your heels are coming up or you're hunching your spine a lot, you want to start by working into your posterior hip capsule with a bolster. And grab the frame of a door. Eventually, getting into this deep squat. And then you're moving side to side, circling. Here I feel it a little tighter on this left side, so I'm going to kind of work that area open with some movement. And I can use that contract, relax. I'll lift up, 3 seconds, and go deeper into it, okay? Then, from here, I can also kind of do this, or this. This one preps me for barrel riding, so I can put my hand up here and touch the top of the barrel while I'm going through the tube. So, again, that's my motivator, right over there. So that's the deep squat. Again, for those beginners, you can go as simple as getting your butt back, almost like you're about to sit in a chair, but don't. And hold on to a door jamb. But you've got to feel a stretch here. If you do this, you're not doing it right. The spine has to stay tall and long. A little slight curve in the back. Okay, another favorite. Most everybody gets tight in their external rotators. If you walk in place or catch yourself standing around, you'll see one foot kind of turn out a little more than the other. What that does with a lot of hip and back pain patients, I see a rotated hip on one side rotates the pelvis and then rotates the spine with it. So that can be a cause of pain. So we want to get the side of the turned out foot open. Mine is my left side. So I'm going to get down here and just like pigeon pose in yoga, we're going to bring one foot forward, loop it out onto the foam roll. The knee is at 90. The back knee has also been at 90 off to the side. The key here is you want your hip pointers to come around the bend and face forward. That's that. Bringing that neutral pelvis into it again. And then I'm going to lean forward while keeping my spine long. A lot of people do this or roll off to the side. Spine stays tall and you hip hinge from down here. I feel a great stretch deep in my hip capsule and all the muscles that attach from my sacrum to my femur. So that's another great one. So that's pretty much if you repeat that a couple times, it's a good 10-minute routine. You've stretched your calves. Doing the downward dog, you stretched your hips, you stretched the anterior compartment of your hips with the hip flexor stretch. You stretch your pecs and lats. You've worked on core strength. And the only thing I would add in, one thing I forgot, was bridge. So get those glutes activated. You're gonna get on your heels, rise up slowly. I get on my heels and then I grab my arms behind, or I'll grab one knee and then hinge up. Because most people I see also have one hip that doesn't engage. So the glute medius and max, when you go to land, you've got a plane flying over, the femur wants to rotate in because these muscles aren't doing their job to keep it out. So the more you can work on unilateral hip strengthening, the more likely or less you're going to have foot, knee, ankle, back pain, because you're creating synergy of your nervous system to fire out to the muscles. So I hope that helps, and we'll do a couple other 10-minute routines as we go. All right, thanks.